Students, so we will continue. So this will be video 6. I think already we have seen 5 videos under nephrology, renal disorders. So I will continue like that. Okay, so today's condition will be urinary incontinence. So when we see the definition, what is urinary incontinence? It is the involuntary leakage of urine. In simple terms, it means a person urinates when they do not want to. Control over the urinary sphincter is either lost or weakened. This also you should have studied in the nursing foundations in first year, right? So when the urinary sphincter loses its control, or it becomes weak. So here it is not able to hold the urine in the urinary bladder. So there will be continuous spillage even when the patient does not want to void, or when an individual does not void, still there is leakage of urine. So you can see there are different types of urinary incontinence. In the diagram, stress, urge, overactive bladder, functional, overflow, transient. Okay, we will see what are those. Okay, these are the various types. I think this also you should have studied. Okay, so these are the various types of urinary incontinence. So we will see what are the causes of each. Okay, so when we talk about stress incontinence, so the etiological factor of stress, so whenever there is a stress, automatically there will be leakage, of the urine. So like when the patient is actually coughing, or when he or she is doing, strenuous work, then, so lifting objects or such things, they will be having leakage of urine. So mainly it can be because of pregnancy, where with the abdominal muscles, or because of the extension, expansion of the uterus, there is a pressure over the urinary bladder leading to incontinence. So pregnancy, childbirth, that it is during labor, menopause in the women, when the estrogen levels drop, the muscles may get weaker. Okay, so because of that, again it can put pressure over the urinary bladder. Next you have hysterectomy. So when the uterus has been removed, again the muscles get weakened. Some other surgical procedure, it can be because of age and obesity. Okay, so next we will go to causes of urge incontinence. So the following causes of urge incontinence have been identified. So this, because of these disorders, when there is an incontinence of urine, then we call that as urge incontinence. In case of cystitis, inflammation of the lining of the bladder. CNS, central nervous system problems. Examples are multiple sclerosis, stroke and Parkinson's disease. Then enlarged prostate, the bladder may drop, the urethra could become irritated. Next we have causes of overflow incontinence. So when does this happen? This happens when there is an obstruction or blockage to the bladder. So whenever there is obstruction to the urinary bladder, or it can be because of any blockage, then you can see that there is incontinence of urine, and that is called as overflow incontinence. The following may cause an obstruction, like enlarged prostate gland, a tumor pressing against the bladder, urinary stones, constipation, urinary incontinence surgery which went too far. Okay, so these are the various causes of overflow incontinence. Next, causes of total incontinence. So following can cause total incontinence in case of any anatomical defect has had from birth. So any birth congenital anomaly, it can lead to incontinence. Or if the spinal cord injury which messes up the nerve signals between the brain and the bladder, then if the incontinence occur, then we call that to be total incontinence. A fistula is nothing but a tube or abnormal connection which develops between the bladder and any nearby area, most typically the vagina. So in these cases, if there is incontinence, that kind of incontinence, we call that to be total incontinence. Then what are the other causes of urinary incontinence? Some medication, especially some diuretics, antihypertensive drugs, sleeping tablets, sedatives and muscle relaxant, or alcohol intake, urinary tract infection. So these are the various causes of other causes of urinary incontinence. Next we will go to risk factors. So talking about the risk factors, we will see like obesity, smoking, gender, old age, and other disease condition, and prostate disease. So talking about obesity, so obese people have increased pressure on their bladder and surrounding muscles, which weakens the muscles and makes it more likely that a leak occur when the person sneezes or cough. So in obese patient, usually we know that the blood pressure also is increased, okay, and then there is an increased pressure on the bladder also and the surrounding muscle. So this pressure weakens the muscles and makes it more likely. So, okay, so because as it is getting weakened, there are chances for the person to have incontinence whenever the person sneezes, almost like a stress, sneezes or coughs. Then smoking, regular smokers are more likely to develop a chronic cough, which may result in episodes of incontinence. So otherwise also it's weakness, okay, so if somebody it can be not like sometimes it happens with other healthy people also. It can be because of weakness, okay, when you sneeze or cough, if there is an incontinence. So again, in smokers, they do develop chronic cough, and because of this cough, it is a pressure, right? So in that cases, they can be episodes of incontinence. In gender, women have a significantly higher chance of experiencing stress and incontinence than men, especially if they have had children. So after delivery, it becomes more common among women. Old age, we know, so in the old age the muscles of the bladder and the urethra gets weakened, and this can become a cause for urinary incontinence. Then some diseases and condition, people with diabetes, kidney disease, spinal cord injury or neurological diseases, in particular residual deficit after a stroke. Okay, so disease like diabetes or kidney disease, so whenever there is diabetes, it also get affected with it affects the kidney. Okay, it leads to neurological problem, nephrological problem, sorry. And then we see that the patient diabetic also develops hypertension. Okay, so then you have spinal cord injury or any neurological injury, in particular residual deficits after a stroke. So even in case of stroke, okay, so they can be, these are all the risk factors. Then prostate disease, history of prostate surgery or radiation therapy. If the person had prostate cancer where he has underwent surgery or radiation therapy, in such cases also this incontinence will be very common. So we'll see what are the symptoms of urinary incontinence. The main symptom is the unintentional release, leakage of urine. So without their knowledge itself, there will be leakage of urine. When and how this occurs will depend on the type of urinary incontinence. This is the most common kind of urinary incontinence, especially among women who have given birth or gone through menopause. Okay. So whenever the woman has gone through the menopause, so if the women already we have seen because of the low estrogen, automatically the skin becomes what, very weak, right? So because of that also the very common after childbirth or menopause, incontinence becomes very common among women. Okay, then in this case stress refers to the pressure, physical pressure rather than mental stress. When the bladder and muscles involved in urinary control are placed under sudden extra pressure, the person may urinate involuntary. So in case of stress refers to physical, we have already seen in stress where they are lifting objects, when they are doing strenuous work. Okay, it also leads to mental stress, and when the bladder and muscles are also involved in the action in the urinary control are placed under extra pressure. So even the urinary bladder and the muscles around it also has got great pressure over it, so which can lead to incontinence. Already we have seen all these, right? So the following action may trigger stress incontinence like cough, sneezing, laughing, heavy lifting, exercise. So all this when it leads to the kind of pressure, then automatically we know that the patient will have incontinence. So we will now again see what are the other various types of incontinence. So urge incontinence, effort incontinence, that we have seen involuntarily person will be passing urine or leakage of urine will happen whenever the person is doing some strenuous work, lifting, or even when the pressure is increased because of coughing, sneezing, laughing or doing exercises. Okay, so this is also known as reflex incontinence or overactive bladder. This is the second most common type of urinary incontinence. So mostly this is very common, but second common. There is sudden involuntary contraction of the muscular wall of the bladder that causes an urge to urinate that cannot be stopped. So when the urge to urinate comes, the person has a very short time before the urine is released. Regardless of what they try to do it, the urge to urinate may be caused by a sudden change in position, the sound of running water, sex, especially during orgasm. Bladder muscles can activate involuntarily because of damage to the nerves to the bladder, the nervous system, or to the muscles themselves. So we see that the urge to urinate happens, right, without the knowledge of the person. It can also be caused to, like, various causes has been given, like sudden change in position, or when they hear the sound of the running water, or during sex. Okay, so these muscles can activate. So what happens? Bladder muscles get activated involuntarily because there is a damage to the nerves of the bladder, the nervous system, or to the muscles themselves. And that is the reason in these above listed cases there can be urge incontinence or reflex incontinence. Next we will see overflow incontinence. Almost all the points are repeated again, and the causes itself we have seen. Okay, this is more common in men with prostate gland problem, a damaged bladder or a blocked urethra. Even in urinary retention we have seen that prostate gland abnormalities actually retains urine also, leading to retention, but it can also lead to incontinence also. A damaged bladder or a blocked urethra, an enlarged prostate gland, actually it can obstruct the bladder. So the bladder, it cannot hold as much urine as the body is making, and or the bladder cannot empty completely, causing some amounts of urine leakage. Not that whole of the urine that is collected in the urinary bladder will be leaked, but some amount of the urine will be leaked. Often patient will need to urinate frequently, and they may experience dribbling or a constant dribbling of urine from the urethra. So they will feel, every time they will feel like urinating, they might go and use washroom, and they will be dribbling of the urine. So that is overflow incontinence. Though there is a dribbling of urine, not all the urine will be leaked, but the patient will always have a sensation of urinating. Okay, next you have mixed incontinence. This is where a patient experiences both stress and urge incontinence at the same time. Okay, so stress, stress mainly cough, sneezing. So urge mainly we have seen whenever there is a change of position, weakened abdominal muscles, or nerves of the bladder nervous system. So sudden of when they hear the sound of the running water or during sex. So when there is both stress and urge together, then we call that to be mixed incontinence. Functional incontinence is when there is a need to urinate but cannot make it to the bathroom in time due to mobility problem. So now they want to urinate, but the time before they could reach itself, they will have incontinence. Okay, so that is called as functional incontinence. So what are the various diagnoses of urinary incontinence? Of course, we should collect history collection and do the physical examination. So urinary incontinence include a bladder diary. So usually the physician or the doctor can ask the patient to record how much they drink, intake of water, when do they urinate, how much urine is produced, intake, output, and the number of episodes, when all they have had this incontinence. Then physical examination, the doctor might examine the vagina and check the strength of her pelvic floor muscle. So they should be able to check their strength of the pelvic floor muscle. Then if the patient is male, the doctor may examine his rectum to determine whether the prostate gland is enlarged. Okay, then urine analysis of pelvic floor muscle strength in women and checking of the prostate among the men. Okay, then urine analysis, test for signs of infection. We have to see if there is any abnormality. Then blood test, to assess the kidney function. So bun, serum, creatinine can be done. PVR is post-void residual measurement, measures how much urine is left in the bladder after urinating. Then pelvic ultrasound, stress test. The patient will be asked to apply sudden pressure while the doctor looks out for the loss of urine. Then urodynamic testing determines how much pressure the bladder and urinary sphincter muscle can withstand. Okay, so because if the bladder muscle and the sphincter is not able to withstand the pressure, then it can lead to incontinence. Then cystogram, it is the X-ray procedure to visualize the bladder. Cystoscopy, a thin tube with a lens at the end. A cystoscope is inserted into the urethra. The doctor can view abnormalities in the urinary tract. So visualizing of the bladder. Okay, so these are all the various diagnoses of urinary incontinence. Okay, next we will go on to treatment and we will continue in the next video.